back to Secret Weapons, and today we are taking a look at the Limelight V2 by Electronic Audio Experiments. For all of my ambient soundscaping and obsession with big, giant, washy reverbs and stereo delays and everything, you might be surprised to know that I cut my teeth and really I kind of found my musical identity in the early mid-2000s in the kind of post-hardcore, emo, and punk genres. That is a genre love that has carried over through my entire musical career, my entire adult life, starting with bands like AFI, Rise Against, Under Oath, that kind of thing, and continuing on to like third wave emo and kind of modern post-hardcore and modern metalcore. And all of that resulted in me developing a very, very deep love of the band Touchè Amore. Admittedly, somewhat late in their career. I had seen them live a couple of times, but where I really found connection with that band was when they released Stage 4, which I think is a top 5 record of mine. When Electronic Audio Experiments announced that they were releasing a signature guitar pedal for the guys from Touchè, I was elated, and then subsequently very, very depressed when I missed out on the run of the V1. So when the V2 was announced, I knew I had to get my hands on it, and here we are. This is the V2 Limelight by Electronic Audio Experiments, and it is one of the best overdrive and boost pedals I have earnestly ever played. I'm not even kidding. There are other reviews and demos I'm supposed to be working on right now because I have some deadlines that I'm supposed to hit, but I kind of shirked a bunch of responsibilities to make this video instead because I just can't stop talking about how much I like this pedal to people, and I'm hoping this will help me kind of alleviate some of that for the people I know in my real life. So let's talk about what this pedal is. At its core, I think the Limelight could be fairly described as in the blues breaker family of drive circuits. But if that is to be true, I have to say that I only like 4 or 5 blues breaker circuits in the industry anywhere, and this is at least 3 of them. You have a very simple control scheme here. You've got your volume, your tone, and your gain. That tone is a low-pass filter that interacts really, really beautifully with this focus switch, which is basically a 3-position toggle that adjusts the kind of high-end and the mid-range content of the drive, resulting in the ability to dial in some really biting, bright guitar tones or some really mellow, warm, mid-focus stuff. Not tube screamery at all, still with all that clarity that you would get out of a breaker-style circuit, but with the ability, like I said, to roll back that tone control to get exactly the amount of mellowness you want out of something that could otherwise be really bright and really angular or really dark and almost doomy. In parallel with that, you have this boost control, and it's worth noting that you can run the boost by itself or the drive by itself or the boost into the drive. This boost is amazing because it has a slight low shelf to it that in practice feels like you're boosting treble a little bit, especially as you turn it up farther. You kind of get a more accentuated brightness out of that boost control, and that actually is super useful because it plays against the tone knob and the focus switch really well to give you a shocking amount of tones. And we'll get into some of that, balancing your tone, your focus, and that boost when we get to the sound samples in this video. And it's worth noting that this thing also feels like it has a lot more gain on tap than I think any blues breaker style drive I've ever played. You can go from warm, clean, articulate stuff way down low to, even without engaging that boost, like really aggressive, big, distorted, angry guitar tones in this thing. And then when you turn that boost on and really crank that thing too, I think it's 22 decibels of clean boost. You can really blow apart an amp with this thing in a very fun way, and we'll get into that in this video. The Limelight V2 is basically just an improvement on the original, slightly lower noise floor, and new, and in my opinion, much, much better form factor. Narrower, more compact, easy to kind of like navigate, but also just looks so good. It's got such a great aesthetic to it. The art on it is fantastic. I'm really into the form factor on this thing. I feel like I have to stop talking in this portion of the video now because it's a simple layout. It's an easy to understand pedal. We just have to go to the sound samples because I'm so enamored with this pedal that if I don't, we're just gonna sit here and rant about it for like 5 more minutes. There's not gonna be any value other than me just gushing. So let's go ahead and go to our top-down camera and dig into the Limelight V2. Before we get started, let's go ahead and talk through our signal chain. I am playing a Fender Eric Johnson signature Strat into the Electronic Audio Experiments Limelight V2, the Chase Plus Audio Tonal Recall, Gravitas, and Dark World Reverb. We are going into the Harmony H620 amplifier and a Universal Audio aux box topper. That's going to be handling our cabinets and our miking, and then we go straight into Universal Audio's Luna DAW. Here is just the Strat into the amp with no other effects involved. Oh, and I'll try to cut out as much of it as possible, but be aware that when I do some pickup switching, you may hear some crackling because my 5-way is going out, and I have not had time to deal with it. Okay, let's turn on the Limelight and see what we've got. We're back on the bridge pickup. We're going to start things off with the boost. What I like about it is that at subtle settings, kind of lower in the sweep, you've got less treble being kind of pushed to the forefront. And as you kind of hit that boost harder and harder, I find that you get more brightness out of it, which can also lend a lot of clarity back to some of the drive sounds in this thing. So let's start with the boost at minimum, and then we'll kind of slowly go through the full breadth of how much boost and what that can do to your tube amp. You've noticed a lot of boosts being used on my page recently, and this is why. A good boost pedal into a well-toned and a well kind of tuned amp is like my favorite thing right now. And the boost in this thing is no joke. We've got volume, tone, and gain all at noon. Let's go ahead and run through our 3 focus switch settings. Okay, we're back in the middle position on the focus switch. Let's bring the gain nice and low, and then kind of dial up something kind of warm and subtle, something a little more, what I would see as a more traditional kind of low gain blues breaker sound, and then use that boost to not only add grit, but also add clarity when you need it. I swear, I'm going to talk about how good this boost is for the rest of my life. It pairs so well with the circuit in the Limelight, the actual like drive, that you can take super low gain and have that kind of like articulation and that warmth that comes with the drive circuit in this pedal. And then you can just blow it up with that boost and have it work so effectively. Like, this is low gain right now. But like, there's still value in that super low gain thing, because without it, you've got. Let's go ahead and listen to how that tone control affects the different focus modes. So with this top focus mode, I find that you get a lot of clarity. I think the word in the manual would probably be chime if I had to take a guess. It's a lot of treble information, and with that boost in tandem, you can get actually like some pretty like bright glassy sounds that I wouldn't typically go for. But by pulling back that tone a little bit, you keep that clarity, but you can kind of reduce some of that brittleness that you can sometimes get with an overly bright drive. And the beauty of that kind of extra trebly information in that boost is you can bring that back if you need to. So let's take this this kind of everything at noon bright focus sound, and let's bring down that tone. And that's great because now you're not getting that kind of like sharpness of the like overly bright sound, in my opinion, with at the very least with this Strat and this amplifier. You can darken that up, but you still keep that mid-range content that you would get in a different form with the different focus modes. That articulation, and then you can bring that boost back in to give some of that clarity, that extra brightness back. Okay, I find that the center toggle position on the focus control is my kind of go-to sound. Everything at noon with focus in the middle is like the perfect kind of rhythm drive sound for me. We covered that, but just as a refresher. I think that sounds amazing. With this being my favorite kind of like knob positions, let's go ahead and play with the full sweep of just the gain on the drive side of the pedal.